Next on the news, the Diocese of Brooklyn is celebrating Thanksgiving early. From the guardian angels helping those in need.
North Brooklyn has some of the highest food insecurity rates in all of New York City. But this Thanksgiving, the North Brooklyn Angels are making sure that takes a back seat. I'm Jessica Easthope. That story's coming up.
To the kids putting their own twist on a holiday tradition.
Macy's is well known for its annual parade, but Our Lady of the Snow's Catholic Academy is making it their own. I'm Katie Vasquez, and I'll explain how coming up.
We are spreading the gratitude with team coverage. Plus, in honor of the last few days of Black Catholic History Month, we bring you 3 African-American churches in one parish. And helping to keep one of them running is Violet Chandler. She's tonight's Pulse of the Parish. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. They are angels on earth, helping to make Thanksgiving a happy one for all. North Brooklyn Angels is hosting their 6th annual Neighbors Giving Thanks campaign, serving a traditional holiday meal with turkey and all the trimmings. As Currents News' Jessica Easthope reports from Bushwick, the drive is helping to bring the holiday spirit to those struggling to make ends meet.
Dozens are welcomed by the North Brooklyn Angels to a community Thanksgiving meal.
Bienvenidos. Feliz Día de Pavo.
Their empty cups ready to be filled. They arrive tired, weak, hungry, some with a lot on their plates. It's hard to stuff the worry down because simple, filling meals are out of reach for many in this area. But the North Brooklyn Angels are stringing together moments of hope.
We are the people for the people here, right? We are the people that are bringing joy and filling needs and have a meal that they wouldn't otherwise have because they don't have the means or the place to do so.
Inside the community meal, there's a mix, old and young in need. But the North Brooklyn Angels have become a staple in the community. Full stomachs are the mission, the smiles are the gravy on top. Showing up for these people is their bread and butter.
We want to make this a really joyous and dignified experience. If people come to us, we give them food.
This Thanksgiving, Stephanie Quiroga and her mom found themselves at one of several community meals hosted by the North Brooklyn Angels.
So my mom and I have been going from place to place trying to get food. Unfortunately, every time we get there, there's no more food, they're out. So we've been in search of getting some food for us, but it's been hard. But with God on our side, everything will be okay.
They showed up looking for a hot meal, but found community. No food lines, just family around the table. Something else that's missing this holiday.
With ICE raids going on, my mom's illegal here, so we can't travel really anywhere. Our family's in Ecuador, and we only get to see them through a screen sometimes. And to just feel like an actual hug, a welcome, saying, how are you? It feels like another family here.
Getting to experience a different kind of FaceTime was the sweetest treat of all. They don't have wings, but to the people here, the North Brooklyn Angels are the real thing. In Bushwick, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
North Brooklyn Angels will be hosting more meal events for anyone struggling this holiday season. The next one will be on Wednesday, November 26th at 195 Morger Street in East Williamsburg. Doors open at 11:30 a.m. There will also be 2 events on Thanksgiving, the first at 127 Kent Street in Greenpoint at 11 and the second at 1 Havemeyer Street in Williamsburg at 11:30. These are ticketed events, but North Brooklyn Angels will do their best to accommodate walk-ins on a first-come, first-served basis. Also helping those in need in New York is Catholic Charities. We first go to the Archdiocese of New York's chapter of the charity, where they fed more than 500 families on Tuesday. Cardinal Timothy Dolan kicked off the food distribution in Harlem, where families received a turkey and all the fixings, including cornbread, cranberry sauce, and yams. Catholic Charities has also sponsored turkey distribution events in the Bronx, East Harlem, and Washington Heights.
There you go.
Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens has already gotten the butterball rolling. They handed out 1,000 turkeys and chickens outside of Our Lady of Sorrows in Corona, Queens on Monday. For some families, it's a huge help.
Everything is expensive. You take a few things, more than $50, $100, but it's not enough for if you have a big family, it's not enough food.
We're seeing people really at their wits' end. I mean, that's why we're here out on the street in the middle of Corona.
Overall, CCBQ is giving out 4,000 turkeys and chickens at pop-ups and food pantries throughout the diocese. You'll be thankful to hear this year's feast will cost you less than it did last year. According to a survey done by the American Farm Bureau Federation, the average cost for the holiday meal is about 5% lower than last year, largely thanks to a 16% drop in turkey prices. Side dishes are also down, including stuffing, dinner rolls, and pie crust, which are cheaper because of falling wheat prices. But you might want to leave beef off your Thanksgiving menu. Prices have gone up nearly 15% this year. And for many of us, the holiday celebration will also include gathering around the TV to enjoy the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. But the iconic event in Manhattan has a rival in Floral Park, as some kids put their own spin on the nearly century-old parade. Currents News' Katie Vasquez has that story.
We have all heard of Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, but students at Our Lady of the Snows Catholic Academy here in Queens created their own version of the iconic Manhattan March, and some say it's even better than the department store's event. Lots of music, song, and dance at this Thanksgiving parade, but it wasn't marching down Fifth Avenue. It was parading down the streets of Floral Park, Queens.
This is better than Macy's. We had cheerleaders, we had our Broadway performance, and it was all our kids.
Teachers at Our Lady of the Snows Catholic Academy challenged students to take inspiration from the book Balloons Over Broadway. Every grade working together to create a bigger float with iconic cartoon characters, superheroes, and animals, and each student making a mini float.
I liked when I got to make it like the boat, like she's on the boat, and I made all the characters. I took a box and then I painted it like this, and then I took a straw and I made like the sail, and then I glued them both here. I thought it was really cool. I liked seeing everybody's float.
They were graded on their creativity in designing the individual floats, but the kids were grateful to work together and parade together in pride.
To just get together before Thanksgiving, I just think it was a great idea. It's the first one that we've done, and I think this is going to be a tradition.
A tradition the students are happy to join in for years to come.
My favorite part was having fun, joining with everybody together. I love this parade because it was great, and I want to see it next year.
The two parades do have one thing in common. They both end with Santa's sleigh, and now the students at Our Lady of the Snows are ready to bring on the Christmas cheer. In Floral Park, Queens, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
Cultural diversity was front and center at St. Gregory the Great Catholic Academy's annual Friendsgiving. The Belrose Academy hosted its annual holiday celebration on Friday with a showcase of dishes from around the world, including Dominican yellow rice, Colombian empanadas, and Haitian rice and beans. The event was a blend of Thanksgiving and reunion, welcoming not just students and their families, but alumni too, with some traveling out of town to be a part of a day to celebrate their shared legacy. Bishop Robert Brennan celebrated Thanksgiving early with Monsignor McClancy Memorial High School in East Elmhurst, and he brought with him a special surprise. During the Tuesday Mass, where the Brooklyn Shepherd installed new Eucharistic ministers, he told the Queens teens that their Thanksgiving break was actually beginning a day early, telling them, rest up, enjoy the people you are around, and be renewed. So there will be no classes at Monsignor McClancy tomorrow, and the students were undoubtedly grateful for the extra day off, of course. Now we're going to take a short break, but first, join us in a prayer of gratitude ahead of Thanksgiving. Robert Brennan blesses the walls and anoints a new altar after this Queen's Church underwent a monumental rebuild. Christ the King in Springfield Gardens has had a major facelift. The renovations, which cost more than $1 million, are a product of the parishioners who wanted to invest in their spiritual home. Currents News' Katie Vasquez got the tour and tells us what's new.
It's the first weekday mass where parishioners get to see the new renovations at Christ the King.
We couldn't wait to have this beautiful home to come to.
It is so beautiful. You walk in and you're like, is this our church?
It was after a visit from Brooklyn's Bishop Emeritus Nicholas DiMarzio in 2020 that Pastor Father Gordon Kusi knew it was time for a change.
When we come to liturgy, you want a presentable place. And to see the choir sometimes almost on the altar, especially when the bishop visits.
On top of appearance, Father Kusi says it was difficult to hold funerals and the tabernacle was hidden. It was one thing Jean Filbert noticed when she joined the church 24 years ago.
When you enter a church, first thing you look for is a tabernacle. And I was like, where is the tabernacle? Then he told me it's on the side.
Work started in February to replace the carpet on the altar with marble, all new woodwork, tabernacle, and a dedicated choir space. The total cost was about $1.6 million, a commitment to the community.
After spending all this money to rebuild the church, we are not going to close the church anytime soon. This is what we are going to leave for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren.
And safe from all distress.
But the pastor wants his flock to look beyond the beauty of the sacred space.
I invited them to rekindle their faith and be happy, both physical and spiritual.
And this church feels more like home than ever for its parishioners.
It's such a good end to look and see the finished product that I want to get married again here.
It will be so special that I don't think we'll want to leave.
Hopefully bringing even more people to the pews. In Springfield Gardens, Katie Vasquez, Currents News.
It's beautiful. Pope Leo XIV is preparing to take his first international trip as pontiff. The journey to Turkey and Lebanon was originally planned under the late Pope Francis to commemorate the 1700th anniversary of the First Council of Nicaea. Called by Emperor Constantine I in 325 AD, the council aimed to address theological disputes and establish a unified Christian doctrine. Pope Leo will take off on Thursday to Turkey, where he'll make his first public address during a foreign trip. Then on Friday, he'll fly to Istanbul, where he will take part in a prayer service and commemoration for the 1700th anniversary. Of course, be sure to tune into Currents News and the tablet online for full coverage of the trip. This Thanksgiving, Currents News is bringing you around the world and back with a new special. We're highlighting those whose belief has gone beyond borders, living through tragedies like war and Christian persecution just to find their home in the Diocese of Brooklyn. But they do more than just live here. They are adding to their communities, feeding the hungry, teaching the next generation, and helping the elderly, because they say it is part of their culture and their faith. So be sure to tune in this Thanksgiving for this Belief Beyond Borders special. Again, that's this Thursday, November 27th at 7 p.m. Finally tonight, when churches merge into one parish, the pastor's work doubles and sometimes triples. That's the case at St. Martin de Porres Parish, which consists of 3 Brooklyn churches. Fortunately, the pastor has a go-to person over at St. Peter Claver in Bedford-Stuyvesant, a woman who's helping to preserve the legacy of this historic church. And during this Black Catholic History Month, she is our Pulse of the Parish.
At least 3 days a week, you'll see Violet Chandler walking from her Brooklyn home to her spiritual home. She opens the doors of St. Peter Claver Church, turns on the lights, and starts preparing for Mass. Since the pastor, Father Alonzo Cox, doesn't live here, he relies on Violet.
She's the backbone here at St. Peter Claver, so she does it all.
He calls her a jack of all trades.
I'm an extraordinary Eucharistic minister, altar server, lector, sextant, sacristan, chief bottle washer, and toilet bowl cleaner.
The retired lawyer even collects the mail, sweeps up, does anything that needs to be done because her connection to this sacred space runs deep. The 71-year-old grew up in this historic church and went to the former school. Her grandmother was a founding member of St. Peter Claver, the first predominantly black parish in the Diocese of Brooklyn in the 1920s. Fast forward to the 1960s, it was a safe haven for Violet and her family here in Bed-Stuy.
There were a number of Catholic churches in close proximity, and black people were just not welcomed.
She remembers it clearly and painfully.
The confession was closed here, so they went around the corner to go to confession there. And the pastor at the time came out and said, "Go back to your end church and don't put your hands in the holy water."
Learn, you magistrates of the earth, the expanse.
But Violet and this church endured, her faith and fortitude carrying her.
It's the fortitude, it's the strength of this community that continues to thrive here. And so we're blessed to have people like Violet, who is just a strong-willed, faithful parishioner, and just loves what she does and continues to share who she is with the community here.
I know there's no such thing as the word retirement in the Bible. So it's Moses didn't retire. They called him in when he was in his 80s.
So she keeps serving, not for recognition, but for the next generation, to protect a legacy and to make sure the doors she once needed stay open for others.
It's just a good thing that we're still here and we're still practicing our faith. And what we do not because we're black, but because we're Catholics. And it's it's what we do for the greater good and for the proclamation of the faith and for the glory of God. It's just as simple as that.
And now you know Violet Chandler from St. Peter Claver and how she makes up the pulse of the parish.
Joining us now with more about St. Peter Claver Church in Bedford-Stuyvesant is the pastor of St. Martin de Porres Parish, Father Alonzo Cox. Hi, Father Cox.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. So, first of all, Violet is a hoot, and what a dedicated parishioner. Apparently, like her grandmother, she told me her grandmother was a founding member, and that she and her friends, all from the West Indies, would actually melt their jewelry to make the chalices. I mean, talk about dedication. Is that the type of parishioner you have now? Generous, dedicated?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Violet is one of those parishioners where she would give you the shirt off her back. She's so dedicated. She loves St. Peter Claver. She loves the parishioners at St. Peter Claver. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to look at her as an example of what it means to be a person of faith and to be dedicated to your parish community.
Absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about the history of St. Peter Claver Church. I know it was founded in 1920 by servant of God, Monsignor Bernard Quinn. He bought the building to establish a church for black Catholics, but it was a struggle for him, right?
It was, yeah. It was a time in which black Catholics were not welcomed into any of the other churches in Bedford-Stuyvesant. And so Monsignor Quinn was told by one of his brother priests, if you want to minister to those people, you build them a church. And that's exactly what he did. He brought the building and he established St. Peter Claver for the growing black community, and all were welcomed. He baptized so many people and just welcomed so many people to their new spiritual home in Bedford-Stuyvesant. And it continues, 100 years later, it continues to be a spiritual home to the community here in Bed-Stuy.
And all are welcome. At that Mass, there was diversity in the crowd. And so you're saying that Monsignor Quinn wanted everyone to feel comfortable in the church, no matter their skin color. So talk about how he did that. I know the crucifix, Violet was telling me about the crucifix.
Yeah, you know, the crucifix is was a sign where, you know, there were different images that people could relate to. You know, whenever you look into a church, you know, you sort of want to look at something that relates to who you are. And you look around and you see images of black saints, you see images of other nationalities that you can say, wow, this is who I am, and that there's something in this church that represents who I am, and that's a wonderful and beautiful thing. And that's exactly what Monsignor Quinn wanted. You know, he wanted to allow people to feel welcomed in this place of worship, so he had different things and different images placed in the church so that they could see how welcome they were.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the mural around the altar is really pretty.
The mural of the Ugandan martyrs. And St. Peter Claver is in that mural. You know, and again, a clear sign of these people who were killed for their faith, killed for their belief in the Lord, but yet from their blood are the seeds of what continues to grow as a faith community. So I think that's exactly what Monsignor Quinn wanted people to see, that from the blood of the martyrs is the seeds of the church continuously flowing here in Bedford-Stuyvesant.
So how do you preserve that legacy? How do you pass it on to the next generation?
Well, I think it's important that we talk about it, that we continue to make it known that, you know, this was the struggle that Monsignor Quinn went through, and so many others after Monsignor Quinn, you know, went through, but yet we continue to remain a part of the community. You know, the community has changed demographically, but, you know, the church remains the same. You know, we continue to be a light of Christ in the midst of everything that's going on, but we continue to allow the light of Christ to shine. And, you know, it's in people like Violet, it's in people like the other parishioners of Peter Claver that continue to allow the light of Christ to shine through them to the entire community.
Faithful people, that's for sure. Father Alonzo Cox, pastor of St. Martin de Porres Parish, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, before we go, do you know someone who is the pulse of their parish? Email us their story at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. That is this Currents News Update. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.
Some survived the horrors of war.
Every day I see the people die from the fighting.
And others made remarkable journeys.
Come here, by the first week, I feel like I'm on the right place.
But all searched for one thing, a better life.
They attack one of the guys because he's a Christian.
From the crossroads of Asia to the heartlands of Europe, African horizons to America's coastlines, the Diocese of Immigrants is where their paths meet. And now they dance and sing, volunteer and worship in nearly 20 different languages.
We feel like we have obligation to pass on the culture, the language.
Stitching their past with their present, creating a living mosaic of faith.
I don't know how to be without God, without church, without my saint.
It feels like I'm home.
This Thanksgiving, every stranger is welcome, from many homelands to one table. Currents News invites you to the feast. Let's celebrate Belief Beyond Borders, Thursday, November 27th at 7.